What's going on, guys? Welcome to my channel. This is my inaugural video and I hope you enjoy it. So here are my 10 tips for new players starting out in LEGO Star Wars Battles. Tip number 10. Instantly unlock as many basic scans as you can. Scans are important in the game for upgrading all your cards and leveling up. So it makes sense that you'd want to be able to open as many as possible. Now, the best way that I found to do this is to instantly unlock the basic scans you get. It's only 14 crystals to unlock them, so for free to play or pay to play, it's a really good option and super efficient. It'll let you cycle through your scans faster and be able to get to the higher quality scans to get the better cards. So it just makes sense to me to be able to unlock it. If you're free to play, obviously, then you won't be able to unlock as many, but it definitely is worth it to unlock one or two every day just to get more cards so you can level up faster. Tip number 9. Always take advantage of your legendary card abilities. This is something I noticed a lot when I was starting out in the game, is that my opponents wouldn't use their legendary card abilities. I would always win the head-to-head matchup between our legendary cards because I would take advantage of the ability and have the upper hand for 2 to 3 seconds in each encounter. Now, it's a small thing and it's easy to overlook when you're starting out especially, but once you start taking advantage of the legendary abilities, then you'll see a huge improvement in your gameplay. Tip number 8. Make sure your deck is balanced. This can be a problem for newer players to the game, and not even just the game, to the genre of game that LEGO Star Wars Battles is. Now, when I say keep a balanced deck, I mean that you want to have a counter for anything you could possibly come up against. So, low health swarm troops, tanks, and especially aerial units. It's all too common for a new player to start building a deck and realize way too late that they don't have anything to attack aerial units. So if someone plays a Duros fighter or an Imperial probe droid and all you have to counter it is Ewoks, then you're probably not going to be in a good spot. So make sure you keep your deck balanced so you can counter anything that you can come up against. The more you play, the more intuitive this will be to you, and you'll just kind of do it without thinking about it. But really, when you start focus on what cards you're putting in your deck, then make sure that they can counter whatever you come up against. Tip number 7. Always time your scan openings. Now, obviously scans take time to open if you're not spending the crystals to unlock them instantly. So the best way to be efficient with them is to time them so you don't waste any time in the unlocks. So say, for example, the 8-hour scan. It doesn't make any sense to start unlocking that one in the morning, because you can unlock 2 separate scans in the amount of time it'll take you to unlock one. So you'll be able to cycle through more scans and get more cards overall. So the longer scans you want to unlock right before you go to bed, so you can have that long uninterrupted time, just taking time for one scan so you're not wasting any slots and being as efficient as possible. And then throughout the day you want to be unlocking your basic scans or your second tier scans, the 4-hour ones, so you can take as much advantage of the time that you have as possible. Now this can be done whether you're casual or you're really trying to grind the game. It's just as simple as paying attention to what scans you have and timing them out to where the longer ones you do before bed and the shorter ones you do during the day. Tip number 6. Don't overdo it on offense. This is another huge problem with beginners, is they'll get a really good defensive counter, but then they'll go way too hard back the other way, and they'll get countered in the same fashion. So if someone tries to send a tank at you and backs it up with Ewoks or Porgs or something, and you get a flamethrower, a flame trooper, and maybe a sniper or something, and you can beat back that attack, it makes sense that you want to counterattack. But what you don't want to do is send everything, leave yourself with no energy, and then they can do the same thing to you, where they come back at you even harder than the first time, and you end up losing your main base and losing the match. So always leave a little something in the tank in case the attack doesn't work out and you need to go back on the defense. It'll get easier the more you play, but it's always something to keep in the back of your mind so you don't overextend. Number 5. This one is especially for free to play, but also for if you want to make the most out of your money, the money you're spending in the game, is don't upgrade cards that you're not using. Focus on upgrading the cards that you actually use in your deck. Studs are a very rare commodity in the game. Not really rare, but they're scarce. I guess that means the same thing. But you want to take advantage of the ones you have, because they can be very difficult to get once you spend them, especially if you're free to play. So focus on the cards in your deck first, and even if you can upgrade a card that isn't in your deck, I would recommend waiting until you can upgrade one of the cards in your deck, even if it means waiting another day or two to be able to open the scans to get the cards you need, because in the long run it's going to make sense, and you'll get the way more value out of the studs. Because if a card in your deck, you have enough cards to upgrade it, but you don't have the studs, that's going to be a pain. But if you don't have the cards, but you do have the studs, then all you have to do is wait for you to get the cards out of the scans. Because cards are easier to come by than the studs are, in my experience so far with the game. Tip number 4, don't waste energy. So once you get to 10 energy, almost all the time you want to play a card. Because once you're at 10 energy, you're effectively just burning any energy that you can get after you hit 10. Now it's easy to do if you're not paying attention or if you don't think you have a good play, but almost in every situation it makes sense to just play something so you're not sitting at 10 energy and allowing your opponent to catch up or to build up a large push against you. Tip number 3, focus on countering. It's easy to get stuck in like a tunnel vision mentality where it's like, okay, I'm just going to place a tank, I'm going to place an attacker, and then I'm just going to see what happens. That can work sometimes, but most of the time they're just going to counter you and then you're going to lose in the match. What you want to do is you want to wait for them to make the first move and then figure out the best way to counter it and then go on the offensive, but not too hard like we mentioned with tip number 6. So always focus on your counters above thinking about offense first. Tip number 2, build your turret strategically. This was almost the number 1 thing that I saw when I was grinding up the first few planets that let me get free wins. Was my opponent would play a card and then they'd immediately build 2 turrets on their back line. And I would just focus on one side and rush their main base and get a free 5-star win. It's really easy at the start to think that you just want to build as many as possible, but in reality, their turrets can be taken down very easily with a few combinations of troops. And especially at the beginning of the match when you don't have as many troops on the board and you don't have as much energy, if you place too many turrets, then it can be really easy to get overwhelmed quickly by your opponent and just give up free wins. So as soon as you start thinking more about how you're placing your turrets, it'll go a lot better for you. Especially when the first offensive push, if you place the middle turret, it'll give you way more ground than placing a turret on your back line. So what I've done mainly with my strategy so far is I'll wait to see what my opponent does, I'll counterattack, and then once I can build a tower in the middle, I'll build a tower in the middle, and then I'll start reinforcing my troops from there. Okay. Tip number 1, the biggest tip that I can give for any new player to immediately improve their gameplay. Don't go first. If you go first, you're going to give your opponent the opportunity to counterattack and just walk over you. I get stuck in that when I'm just kind of not paying attention and just playing whatever. That's the biggest thing about my gameplay that I noticed that makes me lose. If I go first, not thinking about it, then they can play whatever card, counter me, and then just come back with a big offensive attack, and then I'm just out of it. So what you really want to do is you just want to wait. This is the one exception to the don't waste energy rule, is you want to, even if it means sitting at 10 energy for like a minute, 2 minutes at the start of the match, it makes more sense to wait than to play something and get immediately countered and lose. Because it is very possible to lose an entire match in the first 30 seconds. So hopefully you heard something or learned something from this video that will help you with your gameplay going forward, and hope it could be useful to you. I'm going to leave you one free tip for the road. Be nice, please. I have a long background with Clash Royale, and that game had such a toxic community as far as the quick chats go. Luckily, they added muting at some point during the game's lifespan that helped a little bit. But being nice is free. So if you're unhappy with your opponent, just leave the match and don't say anything. It's really not that hard. I try to drop a good game every single match, regardless of how I feel about the match, just to be more positive. And just, you don't know what the other person on the other side of the screen has been going through, so it doesn't make any sense to just be toxic with your quick chats for no reason. So just keep that in mind. Be nice to people in game, people in real life. It'll make you feel like a better person. It'll help everybody around you be happier. So thank you for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. I will have more coming out soon. I haven't decided an exact schedule yet for when I want to upload, but once I figure that out, I'll let everybody know. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content, and I will see you next time. Bye.